All right, we are halfway through the solo, so that's pretty awesome. In bars 9 through 12, which is what we are going to work on now, we're going to cover all the... This part is like super crunchy. This is the stuff where Kenny really digs in, starts playing a lot of notes. He starts playing, starts taking it out a little bit, which is one of my favorite parts because it's Kenny doing what he does best in these types of contexts. So we're going to play the first 8 bars, and then we're going to play these next 4 bars, and then we're going to slowly break it down the way we've been breaking it down, going through the notes and the phrasing, and then going through the articulations and whatnot, and making sure that we have the style, because that's the most important part. It doesn't matter if you can just play the notes. If you can't play the style, you can't say that you really learned the solo. All right, with that said, let's play along with the record. All right, let's make our way through these notes. So for the first phrase, we start out. This is after the F sharp, the split F sharp phrase. This part, this thing right here. This comes after this. Okay, so we're starting after that. This starts with a G sharp, then a B, then 3 C sharps in a row, then a G natural, then an E, and an F sharp, E, F sharp. So it's a bit of a bluesy thing. Let me play it slowly for you. All right, let me do that one more time. I'm not going to play the articulations. I'm just going to play the notes. Okay. Now, articulation-wise, on the first 2 16th notes, there's like a little bit of a bend. Kenny's kind of got like a quartered tone flat kind of thing going on with the first G sharp. So it's not quite a G sharp. If you play the record and like put it through a slow down type of software, you'll hear what I'm talking about. So we get a G sharp, then we have a ghosted B, and then we get 3 C sharps in a row. And on the last 2 C sharps, they're played really short. So dot and dot 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 like that. Dot and dot 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 dot. Dot and dot 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 like that. And it's kind of triplety. It's a little bit loose. Triplet eighth notes is probably the closest way I was able to approximate the rhythm. You really just got to listen to the record over and over and over to really get the rhythmic variance that he throws in with these phrases. Sometimes it's right exactly a triplet. Sometimes it's a little bit loose. Okay, so after we play those 3 triplets, we get this 8th note on beat 4 that's got a fall on it. If you remember from earlier when we had the bow bow bow, it's the same kind of fall that we've got going on here, where he plays this G and puts a drop on the note. Bo da 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 da. Bo da what? All right, and then for the F sharp, E F sharp, the E is ghosted. So that sounds like this. All right, and if you're not familiar with ghosting, you can accomplish that by just pressing your tongue against the reed and not stopping the reed entirely, but just kind of limiting how much it can vibrate. A good way to approximate what you're supposed to be doing is to say da, n, da, as though like D-A-H dash N dash D dot and da. Yeah, D-A-H dash N dash D-A-H, like that. So da and da. Okay, so whenever you see stuff that's in parentheses or somebody says it's ghosted, you can imagine saying dot and dot and dot and da, where your tongue presses against the front part of your upper palate. All right, check it out. Now the interesting thing about it is that when you pull off from ghosting the note, you get a nice pop. Dot and dot, dot and dot. Okay, so that's something to really focus on. So let's play this phrase one more time, and then we'll move on to the next one and really focus on the articulations on this. Okay. Now, Kenny's, in this part of the solo, he's kind of growling half of the phrases, like the first half, or just some of the parts that are more energetic than others. There's no real way to quantify it other than just know that if you listen to it, you'll be able to really hear where he's growling and where he's not growling. So just keep that in mind when you're working through it. It's not correct to just growl through the whole thing. It seems like the ghosted notes are the parts where he's not entirely growling, or when the phrases get kind of low, or just kind of in like the lower middle part of the horn, that's when he stops growling. But as a general rule, he's growling when the notes get really, really intense. Okay, let's check it out. I'll play this phrase and add some growling to it. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next phrase. Now this one sounds like this. All right, so for this one, we're going to start with a B, a C sharp, and then an E. And on the E, we're going to add a do, da, da, for the next part. So it's kind of like do, da, da, do, da, da, like that. Do, da, da, da. Okay, so beat 3, we get F sharp, E, like that. So we kind of get that kickoff from that really short E note like this. Okay, so it's kind of a tricky technique to work on, but if you can get this articulation down, you'll hear it all over the place in Cannonball, Adderley, and a bunch of other alto players that really subscribed to the Cannonball style of playing, which to me, I think Kenny took a lot from it, but I don't know if you could say that he's explicitly from that school, because he definitely has his own vibe entirely, which is amazing. Okay, and then on beat 4, we have just a regular turn. F sharp, G natural, F sharp, E, C sharp. Okay? Violet, violet. Do, 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 do. Like that. Let's wait for the plane to go by. So many airplanes right now. It's unbelievable. Okay, so for the turn, now this one I know he definitely growls through it a little bit. And on the last 16th note of the bar, this is where you're going to want to really hit that F sharp hard after playing the turn like this. All right, and then when you combine it with the growl, you get a pretty cool effect. All right, so then for the last little bit, we got F sharp, E, C sharp, G sharp, B, and C sharp. And for these, you could think of it like regular back tonguing of eighth notes, where you're going F sharp to E, that's do, because of the slur, and then on the C sharp we go, we tongue the C sharp really hard, and then we tongue release the G sharp, da-ood, da-ood, like that, da-ood, da-ood, like that. And then on the B, give it a little bit of a fast vibrato, and then play the C sharp just with a regular tongue, like this. All right, and then add your growl and you're good to go. All right, awesome. Let's move to the next phrase. Now for this, we are making our change to the key of, the best way to think of this is just, we've been in like C sharp minor. Now we're moving up to D minor for this next little bit. Okay, so for this, we just have, for this next chunk, let me highlight it here so it's easier to follow. That's this part right here. So we've got C sharp, D sharp, and then E sharp, or you could think of this as like D flat, E flat, and F, depending on how you want to think of it. And articulation-wise, these go tongue, tongue, slur. Do, do, like that. Do, do, do. It's hard to get it right because that last note, you don't want it to be super short like we've played earlier, but you still want it, do 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 do. Okay, and then we come to the amazing out lick that we've got going on here. That's this chunky thing right here. So let me play it slow, and then I'll break down the notes, and then I will break down the fingering because it's got a tricky fingering for it. Here we go. All right, let me play that one more time. Again, nice and slow so we can make sure we've got the notes in our ear before we start learning the note names and stuff. Here we go. All right, let's get through these notes. So first we start with F. I'm sorry, the first ones are the pickups. We got C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, or F natural. And this takes us to the key of D minor. So then we go F, G natural, A, C natural, D, A, and then I'll stop on the C, which is B2. Okay, so for these, the first thing you want to do is play the F. Then you want to kind of ghost the G the way I showed that technique earlier where you say the letters N. Like da, n, da, like that. Da, n, da. Then you want to tongue the C, tongue the D, and then slur down to the A. That sounds like this. So I'll show you a technique you can use to kind of work your way through this. So for this part, if you start on the last, we're going to start with the last little bit right here. We're going to play these 3 notes. Then we're going to add this note. Then we're going to add these other notes like that. Okay, so playing the and of 1, right, and ending on B2 like this. Now it's important to make sure that you articulate these da oo dot, da ah dot, like that, or do oo do. Okay, and let's add the C. All right, and now we can add the A on the downbeat and go do 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 do. Okay, as though we're coming out of this ghosted note right here. So like this. Okay, and now just add the part before it. Add the F and the ghosted G. So. All right, and then just slowly speed it up. The most important thing is to make sure you get the articulation correct. All right, on beat 2, we go C, G, D, A, G. right, and now for this one, we start doing some pretty standard back tonguing that we would find in regular swing music. So we would tongue the C, we tongue the G, and we slur to the D. So we get do, 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 right? And then we tongue from A to G as well. So do, 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 ooh. I'll do it, I'll really over exaggerate it so you can hear what I'm talking about. Okay, and that brings us to the beat 3 where we start getting alternate fingering stuff. So for this we go starting from the G, we got G, then we play C, and we play it as though we're playing low C, and then we play regular C, and then we play a G after it. So that sounds like this. Okay, so it's really important to note the way the slurring happens on this one. We slur from the A to the G, so D, and then we tongue the alternate C fingering, slur to the C, the regular C fingering, and then slur to the G as well. So check this out. Okay, and then in the next bar, we repeat a similar articulation style where we go F, alternate fingering C, B flat, and then goes to the G. And the articulation for this bar is really similar to what we had over, I think it's in bar 1. Yeah, this phrasing right here, not bar 1, but in the first 4 bars where we go do, do, slur, slur, do, do, like that. This is very similar to that type of phrasing. It's that Cannonball Adderley do, 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 like that, where the last note is ghosted out of the group of 4. Okay? So for this one, I found it super helpful if you can go just start at the end and work your way towards the beginning. Okay, so start on beat 4 and just work your way backwards like this. Once you've got that, then you can add the next bar to it, or the previous beat to it. All right, don't speed it up until you really have it like under your fingers and you don't have to think about it. The adage is, quote, practice makes perfect, but that's not what it is. It's practice makes permanent. So we're just drilling in the muscle memory for how to play this. So we want to make sure we get it correct every time we do it. Okay. So just slowly start adding, working your way from the beginning, from the end of the line to the beginning, like that. And then the other thing is that if you mess it up, you got to start over and make sure that you don't mess it up the next time you try it again. So I'll continue from this C right here, and I'll just add the previous, starting from this C on beat 2, starting from here and just working my way backwards until I make it to the beginning. Check it out. All right, and then we just have the little bit on the next bar of beats 1, 2, 3, and that's just E, F sharp, G, and that closes off the phrase, and they're regular eighth notes. All right, and if we put that phrase together with its opening lick right here, then we'll have some pretty awesome stuff going on. Check it out. One more time. Okay, let's play the whole phrase from the top. Whoops, I scrolled it off the page. Let's play it starting from here, and then we'll play it with the record. Here we go. Same kind of speed. 1 and 2, right about there. All right, and then we would just keep doing that and just slowly go faster and faster until we're at the tempo of the record. Okay, cool. So for me, this part right here is a tricky spot that I spent a lot of time working on. I still don't have the articulation correct, but you know, I'm still getting there. The hardest part for me is that I like to, after I play this, for whatever reason, I like to play that C really short. I like to go do, I like to go do 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 do, and that's not what he does on the record. He goes do 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 do. He does stuff like that. All right, let's play it with the record. Now that we've got it together, here we go. Reverb. Man, I love that solo. All right, so that wraps up these 4 bars. We learned the notes. We learned the fingering and articulations. So in the next video, we are going to wrap this solo up, and then we're going to tackle the bridge all in one video because the bridge is a lot simpler than all of this. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Hey, thanks again for following along and learning how to play this great Kenny Garrett solo. The next chapter in this series will appear in 1 week, and videos from my course Developing Task Queue will be dropping daily until then. If you don't want to wait for the next video in this series to drop, then you can go to the links in the description and get the whole 10-part series right now. It's a donation-only product. You're going to get all 10 parts, the 5 saxophone parts, the 5 keyboard parts, as well as PDFs in concert pitch, as well as transposed for E-flat instruments, breaking down all the notes and the phrasing and whatnot. And if you want to check out Task Queue to run it on your own system for your own projects as a way to organize your own inspiration, you can download it from the links in the description. And then finally, if you've been curious about how to learn to program, you should check out my course, C++ for Musicians. In this course, I teach the language C++ in the context of developing Juice-based audio applications and audio plugins. And as a bonus, if you take my course, you will get 6 weeks of mentorship from me, as well as you'll get the whole Developing Task Queue course included. So that's just tons and tons of programming lessons and programming goodies, as well as 6 weeks of mentorship. When I was first learning to program, I really wish that I had had somebody to be there with me through my journey and keep me on the right path and learning things the right way. Programming isn't hard, it's just taught wrong. So if you've ever been curious about learning to program, this is a great way to do it. All right, until then, I will see you in the next chapter. Thanks again for watching.